Welcome back, disgruntled sports fans. The off season has flown by, and now it is time to pick some football games once again. This is your NFL Week 1 scripted pick show. This is the Football Pick'em Show, where I guess who's going to win based on the games being rigged and scripted. Because let's face it, the games are rigged and scripted. It's pretend football. All the players are in on it. Every one of them. All the coaches. Yes, all of them. How do they keep a secret? They sign a non-disclosure agreement. So if you're new here, I pick all the games based on who I think is scripted to win. And I base that on a number of things like public money and storylines, entertainment. And so I don't base it off of X's and O's. I don't base it off of which team has the better players or the more talent. I throw that stuff out the window. In fact, I barely even know the majority of players. I can probably only name a couple players on each team. The rosters don't matter. I finished with a winning record last year against the spread because I picked games based on who I think is scripted to win. And this season, I think I have learned from the mistakes I made last season. So this season, I expect to do even better than I did last year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start picking some football games, shall we? Opening game, we have the Baltimore Ravens at the Kansas City Chiefs, who are the defending Super Bowl champions. The Kansas City Chiefs are -3, and I'm going to be using the spreads on ESPN. And the reason is because I think that those ones most closely reflect the true spread of the game. And so you might be able to get a half a point here or there on either side, depending which book you bet on. So I'm going to base my picks off of what ESPN shows as the odds. And this is current up to the moment odds. So all the picks are going to be based on what ESPN shows. So this first game, I'm thinking that since Kansas City opened up by losing the first game last year, having them lose 2 openers in a row seems a little bit unlikely. I feel like last season, a lot of people were on the Chiefs to beat the Lions, and I picked the Lions to upset the Chiefs, and the Lions did upset the Chiefs. So I feel like this year, there's people who are expecting the upset. They're expecting Kansas City to not play as hard in some of these regular season games. They're thinking Kansas City will just put it in cruise control during the regular season and just make it to the playoffs and flip that switch. So I'm thinking instead, Kansas City opens up strong, handles business at home. I like Kansas City to win and cover at home here. I'm seeing a lot of football pick'em guys take the 3 points with the Ravens, and the Ravens are a good team. I think the Ravens will have a good season, but opening game here, too many people, it seems, are expecting the upset. So I'm going to expect Kansas City to take care of business, handle the Ravens, cover the spread. All right. Friday night game in Brazil. Eagles are losing a home game. They are slated as the home team in Brazil to play the Packers here. So I know Eagles fans are going to be pretty angry that they're losing a home game here to go to Brazil. And a lot of people are going to be betting the Packers in this spot because the Packers had a really strong season last year. They exceeded expectations, whereas the Eagles fell off last year. They, at the end of the year, they just collapsed and then they lost in the opening round of the playoffs. So I'm thinking, with just people's memory of what happened last season, there's probably going to be a good amount of sports bettors who are going to want to take Green Bay plus the points. I'm thinking, since Philadelphia is losing a home game by going to Brazil here, the fans in Philadelphia are going to be very angry about that. I feel like, to appease the Philadelphia market, you got to go Philadelphia to win and cover in Brazil. My thoughts are Philadelphia bounces back and looks good right out of the gate here this season, and puts that collapse from last season behind them. So I like the Eagles to win and cover the 2.5 point spread in Brazil. All right. Sunday night. Excuse me. Sunday morning. Here we go. We have our full slate of NFL games. And this first game here, Arizona on the road to take on the Bills. The Bills 6.5 point favorites at home. The Bills have lost some players. Common consensus is the Bills will still be good, but they won't be quite as good as they were last season. And that makes sense to me. And the Arizona Cardinals looked better last season with Kyler Murray coming back. They finished the season looking like a tough opponent. So a lot of people are thinking that taking the 6.5 here is the move. And I have to go the opposite direction. I'm thinking the Bills handle business here against the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm going to take the Bills to win and cover the 6.5 at home against the Cardinals. I've seen too many pick'em guys roll with Arizona and the points, and I see plenty of people taking Arizona to win outright. And so there's no shortage of people thinking that Arizona is going to hang with the Bills, it seems. So just because the Bills lost some players, that's not going to scare me at all. I'm going to take the Bills to win by 7 or more here, cover the spread. All right. New England Patriots at the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the largest spread on the books for the entire slate of games for week 1. So there is no double-digit spreads. This is the highest spread. And in my opinion, it's not quite right. I feel like the Bengals should be like 10.5 point or 11 point favorites here. And I know these games are pretend. And so in football kayfabe, with a healthy Joe Burrow and a New England team that just lost their coach and is starting Jacoby Brissett, I think an accurate spread would be 11 points. So the fact that it's 8.5, it makes me think that they're trying to bait the public into taking the Bengals here. So I'm thinking the Bengals are going to win this game. I don't think they're going to blow this game at home right out of the gate, but I'm thinking New England plus 8.5 is the play. And the reason is the spread seems a bit low, like they're trying to bait the public into taking the minus 8.5 with Cincinnati, and people just expecting Joe Burrow to blow out the Patriots at home. So I'm going to guess that the Patriots show up, and there's a strong possibility that Jacoby Brissett lands the first punch and the Patriots take the lead early, and the Bengals have to play catch up. So if the NFL wanted to scoop up a whole lot of money on this game, they could have New England start the game winning and then even be winning at halftime and be shocking the world. And they could be standing on a pile of money for all the people who bet Cincinnati to be winning in the first quarter, Cincinnati first half money line. If they just have the Patriots in the first half up like 14-10, shocking everyone, they could send a whole lot of sports bettors into a frenzy here. And then they could have the Bengals in the second half come back and just barely win. So in that case, New England plus the 8.5 would easily cover. So I'm thinking New England plus the 8.5 is the play. Cincinnati barely scrapes out a win. And Jacoby Brissett, when the chips are stacked against him, he has the tendency to show up and look like a quality starting quarterback. I've said it before, Jacoby Brissett, if the games were real, he's a top 10 starting quarterback if the games were real. But since the games aren't real, and his name is Jacoby Brissett, and he's some average looking black man, they don't promote him. But in this case, with the chips stacked against him, give me Jacoby Brissett and 8.5 points. Come on, Jacoby. All right, let's move on to the next game here. We got Minnesota Vikings, 1.5 point favorites on the road against the New York Giants. The New York Giants were a bad football team last year. And so people are probably expecting them to be a bad football team again this year. It's looking like the public is more so on the Minnesota Vikings in this spot, even with Sam Darnold at quarterback. I'm going to go the opposite direction here. I'm thinking the Giants are going to be a little bit better than last year. So 2 years ago, the Giants were a good football team and went to the playoffs. And then last year, they sucked. So I'm thinking this year it'll be somewhere in between, and maybe the Giants are like a 6 or 7 win team, maybe even an 8-win team. And so I'm going to say that Daniel Jones and the Giants week 1 win this game at home. So give me the 1.5 points, but I think the Giants win this game outright at home. Okay, Tennessee Titans at the Chicago Bears. In my opinion, Tennessee Titans getting 4 points seems to be a bit much. The Bears being 4-point favorites with a rookie quarterback and the Bears not being that good of a team last year seems a bit strange to me. I feel like a more correct spread would be like 2.5 or 3. So the fact that it's 4 points, I feel like they're trying to get the public to take Tennessee. And I see quite a bit of people taking Tennessee. A lot of football pick'em guys are saying Tennessee is going to humble Caleb Williams and the Bears. I see a lot of sports bettors figuring that Caleb Williams is overhyped. And at first, that was my thought. But then I put the shoe on the other foot and I thought about it from a business standpoint. Like, it makes sense for the NFL to have some of their rookie quarterbacks win and look good, because why have your rookie quarterbacks crap the bed opening week when you can make them look decent or even look good and win the game and put these guys over as future stars? So it makes sense for the NFL to create new star quarterbacks, or at least new good quarterbacks for the future. And so I think when you're looking at a Caleb Williams here and a market in Chicago that is excited for him, I think they can sell a whole lot of tickets and they can sell out that stadium by having Chicago win this game and Caleb Williams look good opening week. So in a market like Chicago, where they're really hungry for a winning season and they've struggled for many seasons, I'm thinking that the Bears win and cover the spread. I know a lot of people are on the Bears money line on this opening game, but I think a lot of people are also on Tennessee plus 4 points. So I doubt that the game's going to be close because then they would have to pay off all the people taking the points on Tennessee and all the people on Chicago money line. So if they have two piles of money on Tennessee plus 4 and Chicago money line, it makes me think they're either going to have Tennessee win outright or they're going to have Chicago roll here. And I like Chicago to roll. I like Chicago to possibly even win this one by 2 scores and look really good. I think this will get the fans in Chicago rocking and rolling. They'll be excited for their new rookie quarterback. And I think this will cause Chicago fans to buy season tickets and then they'll sell out future games for this season in Chicago. So I think from a business standpoint, it makes a lot of sense to have Caleb Williams and Chicago roll in week 1 in this spot. And I think the 4 points is designed to get money on Tennessee. So give me Chicago Bears -4 in this one. All right. Carolina Panthers at the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints are 4-point favorites. I went back and forth on this pick. I'm seeing people who like the Panthers plus the points, but it seems the people who like the Saints, they don't want to mess with the spread, and they're loading up on the money line. So the people who like the Saints are most likely going to be parlaying that pick with another pick, or they're going to be loading up on that money line, expecting the Saints to take care of the Panthers, and they don't want to have to worry about the point spread. And then the people who are taking the Panthers plus the 4, I don't know how many people are willing to throw big money on the Panthers. Like, you got to have some serious cojones to like load up big money on the Panthers. So my guess is there's not going to be that much money being loaded up on the Panthers. And the bigger money will have to be on the Saints money line here. So I'm thinking week 1, Carolina Panthers plus the 4. Carolina Panthers upset the Saints in the Superdome. I'm thinking that their junior varsity looking quarterback will have a better season this year and will look better. I'm thinking Carolina wins maybe 6 or 7 games this year and looks better than they did last year. And then they even have a decent backup quarterback that's capable of winning games as well. So I'm thinking Carolina is going to get much better quarterback play this season. And so Carolina winning this game on the road makes sense to me. So this is an upset special here. Carolina plus 4. Carolina wins outright. All right. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons are now 3.5-point favorites. And this one was sitting at 3 points, and now it's moved to 3.5. And so I think that they're trying to get people to take Pittsburgh. And it makes sense for, people in this spot in week 1 to think that Russell Wilson is going to be an improvement over Kenny Pickett from last season. And so I think that a lot of sports bettors are going to take Pittsburgh plus the 3.5. And then the people who like Atlanta, I think that 3.5 is going to make them nervous, and they're going to go to the money line. So I see a situation here where I don't think they're going to pay both sides. I don't think they're going to pay Pittsburgh plus 3.5 and Atlanta winning the game. So I think this is going to be either Atlanta wins decisively, like by 4 points or more, or the Steelers pull off the upset. I don't think it's going to be a close game. So in this spot, I got to take Atlanta at home with their new veteran quarterback that they picked up. Kirk Cousins is a decent veteran, and I think Atlanta is going to be expecting a home win here, and their fans are going to show up for this one. And the Pittsburgh market is going to back their team, getting 3.5. So I think that the piles of money are going to be fairly even here. So give me Atlanta -3.5. I think Atlanta winning by like a full touchdown or so sounds more like what will happen in this game. All right. Jacksonville at the Miami Dolphins. Jacksonville finished the season in a disappointing fashion last year, missing the playoffs. So it was looking like they were going to win their division and go to the playoffs. And then, like the Eagles, they collapsed at the very end, except they missed the playoffs entirely. So a lot of people are going to be looking at the Dolphins as Super Bowl contenders. And rightfully so. The Dolphins are loaded and they are Super Bowl contenders. But the public websites for the public money are showing that people are loading up on the Dolphins money line. And so this is a situation where people are looking at the 3.5 point spread and they're a little iffy and they're loading up on Dolphins money line. So there's people looking at the Dolphins money line as a lock. And I'm thinking this is a really good spot to take Jacksonville plus the 3.5 and Jacksonville to win outright. Again, I don't think that they're going to have this game be close and pay out the Dolphin money line and Jacksonville plus 3.5. So I think this is a spot where you're going to see Jacksonville hang with Miami the whole game. And then I think you could see this one even like go to overtime and Jags come out with a field goal win. So I like Jacksonville to squeak this one out by a field goal, like a field goal in the last seconds, or like a field goal in overtime or something. One to really like drive a dagger into Miami fans. So I think this one is going to be a soul harvest in Miami, and you're going to see the Jags upset the Dolphins in this spot. And I also think that the money line here on the Jags at only plus 145 is like kind of a low number. So I feel like this is a spot where Jags upsetting the Dolphins makes a lot of sense. And then you have two Florida teams. So in fans' mind, it will make sense that like Jags showed up and played a tough game here. So this is one of those upsets that like afterwards people will think, oh, okay, well, the Jags are better than they thought. Maybe they overvalued Miami. And so this would set up in week 2, Miami having a big bounce back win against Buffalo, possibly. And then the Jaguars having a letdown spot next week. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. So Jags to upset the Dolphins. All right. Houston Texans are 3-point favorites on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts only getting 3 points here. I feel like Houston finishing strong last year and winning a game in the playoffs. And CJ Stroud is now like the darling of football fans now. I see a lot of people wanting to jump on Houston's bandwagon. I feel like this one should be more like 4 points or 5 points. So it was at 2 and it moved to 2.5 and then to 3. So I think some money is coming in on Indianapolis, but I think the majority of the money is going to be on the Texans and the Texans money line. And I think the majority of football fans are just going to expect that since the Texans were a playoff team last year, CJ Stroud looked really good in his rookie season. I think Texans fans are going to expect him to excel and look even better in this next season. And he very well might. But week one, I'm looking at the Colts quarterback to shock everyone and play better than CJ Stroud. So I like Richardson and the Colts to upset the Texans at home. Give me Colts +3, Colts to win outright at home. And I think you're going to see a really good game here. I think you're going to see a shootout, and I think you're going to see two quarterbacks going back and forth in this one. And I think the Colts come out with a probably like a field goal win in this one. Okay. The Las Vegas Raiders on the road against the Los Angeles Chargers. This one's going to be like a de facto home game for the Raiders as far as the crowd is concerned, because the Chargers don't have that many fans. And the Raiders have way more fans in California. And so even though they play in Las Vegas, in California, they still have a huge fan base. And so you're going to see like 80% of the stadium Raiders fans for this one. And so expect this one to be a like it's going to look like a Raiders home game. Now, that's not going to affect the game. I'm just throwing that out there that the crowd is going to be basically all Raiders fans. So in this game, I'm thinking they bring in the new coach to bring excitement to a team that can't draw any fans, to a team that really doesn't have many fans. When they left San Diego, a lot of people jumped off of them and stopped going to their games. So a lot of the San Diego fans don't drive to Los Angeles to watch them anymore. And so they have a lot of trouble drawing fans to that building. And so I think by bringing in the most popular college football coach uh, in Harbaugh here, I think by bringing in Harbaugh, they're going to try and create a buzz and do the best they can to get some Charger fans in that building. And so I like the Chargers week one to win and beat the Raiders decisively. So I think the Chargers can win this game by 2 scores or more. And I think they're going to suck the soul out of that stadium because it's going to be mostly Raider fans. So I think that the better quarterback here is Herbert, of course, and the better coach is Harbaugh. So in this case, better coach, better quarterback. They need to create a buzz around that team in order to get Charger fans in the building. Give me the Chargers to roll week one against the Raiders and cover the 3-point spread. All right, Denver Broncos on the road against the Seahawks. Now, originally, I thought that this was a spot where a rookie quarterback was going to be overhyped, and this was a spot where taking Seattle would be a good idea. And I have changed my mind because I've seen a lot of people loading up on Seattle in this spot. A lot of people are taking Seattle as their survivor pool pick. So they do these survivor pools where people will take a team to win outright, and you can only take that team once, and then you can't take them for the rest of the year. And so a lot of people are loading up on Seattle as their survivor pool pick. And a lot of people are just looking at this game and thinking Seattle at home over a rookie quarterback and a bad Broncos team is a lock. And so most of all the websites show money coming in hand over fist on Seattle. And so I was thinking, putting the shoe on the other foot, they can have Bo Nix come out and look good as a rookie and get Broncos fans excited for their team. And so I think week one here, I haven't heard any buzz around Seattle as far as their team. They lost their coach, and Geno Smith at quarterback. I feel like the NFL, from a business standpoint, stands to make more money by putting over Bo Nix and creating a new good quarterback, or even maybe a star quarterback. by putting Bo Nix over here in his first game on the road, I think they can invest in a quarterback, and then they can get people in the Denver market to start buying season tickets and get excited for their team with an open with an opening day win here. So I like Bo Nix and the Broncos to go on the road and pull off the upset in Seattle. I feel like this is a year where Seattle takes a step back. Um, Geno Smith isn't really going to move the needle. And I haven't heard any sort of buzz around Seattle. So I feel like if you look at it like as a pro wrestling product, let's say, look at it like WWE. The Seattle Seahawks resemble a pro wrestler past their prime in their 40s, who are going to be used to put over the young up and coming wrestlers. So I look at Seattle this season as a team who's going to put over the younger up and coming teams, if that makes sense. So give me the Broncos +6 and Broncos to upset Seattle. So if you're doing one of those survivor pools here, beware. The public is loading up on Seattle, and the public I could see load up on parlays and stick that money line in their parlay. This is your parlay buster, in my opinion. Beware. Okay, Dallas Cowboys, 2.5 points on the road against the Browns. This is a bit of a strange spread. Some people would say that the Cowboys should be like either like even here, maybe even the favorite here. And so I look at this spread like it's maybe designed to draw money in on the Cowboys market. Now, the Browns last season became a bit of a public darling because they had a good season, and they have a team that the public can get behind, a tough defense, and now you have their quarterback coming back healthy. So with all their pieces in place, I know their running back Chubb isn't back, but with the healthy returning quarterback here, the Browns in this spot being a 2.5 point favorite, and it opened up at 1 point and then it moved to 2.5. I feel like the books are telling us that the Browns are going to win this game. So I feel like this spread is legit and that the Browns are going to be the better team. So I'm going to say Browns do win and do cover in this spot. I feel like the Dallas market is going to jump all over the plus on both sides. They're going to see +2.5. They'll jump on that at even odds, and then they'll see what a plus 120 over here. So I think there'll be plenty of Dallas fans and plenty of people to back Dallas here. So I like Cleveland at home to handle business here because I think that the spread moving to 2.5 is designed to draw in more Dallas money. So yeah, give me the Browns to win this game and cover that spread. Okay, Washington Commanders on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers 3.5 point favorites. So in fans' mind, they're going to see a playoff team that won a game versus a team that nobody really cares about. And I don't think many people are going to expect a whole lot out of the Washington Commanders. There are a few people who are excited about their quarterback, but most people are going to expect Baker Mayfield and the Bucs and the weapons that they have to handle business here. And I really like in this spot the Washington Commanders because I feel like the public is going to be sleeping on the Commanders. And so I feel like the public is going to bet a lot more heavy on the Bucs. And I think this is another survivor pool game where people are going to want to take Tampa as their survivor pool pick over the Commanders. So I like the Commanders plus 3.5, and I like the Commanders to win this game outright. The money line at plus 150 looks really low to me. I feel like you should be getting like plus 200 or plus 250 on that instead. So I feel like a really low money line in this situation is the signal that Washington's going to upset here. And so Washington upsetting the Bucs on the road, in my opinion, is a really good upset special spot. And them only giving plus 150 on the money line, I think that like they want you to go with this plus 3.5 over here. So they're trying to get you, if you like the Commanders, to just take the points and stay away from this money line. And then I noticed this money line just seems low to me, to where it's not very enticing looking. So Washington Commanders upset special here. Beware if you're going to roll with the Bucs as your survivor pool or a parlay. I think that's another parlay buster there. All right. Here's our Sunday night game. And the Rams are getting 3.5 points at the Detroit Lions. And this was a rematch from the playoffs. The Lions won, but the Rams covered. And so I don't think that we're going to have that happen again. I doubt seriously that they're going to have the Lions win and then the Rams cover again, because that's what happened in their last matchup. So I feel like this is either going to be a Rams upset or Lions win decisively. I don't think it'll be a close one. So in this spot, I'm guessing the public loves the Lions. The websites that I've looked at suggest that the public loves Lions money line. They're not real thrilled about the minus 3.5, but the public who is backing the Lions, they love the money line, and they think that the Lions are going to beat the Rams for sure. And so it's looking like the public is backing Detroit heavily to win this game outright. I like the Rams to get revenge. I like Matthew Stafford to go back home and get revenge in this game. Give me the Rams plus 3.5, Rams to win outright. I think this is a spot where people think Detroit is going to take the next step and that Detroit's going to be a Super Bowl contender. And I think that Detroit regressing a bit is a strong possibility. I think people are so hyped up over Detroit now, and they have, all their games sold out and all their fans expecting them now to go to the Super Bowl. I'm thinking them regressing and now only being maybe a wild card team is more of a possibility. So I think the Lions having a good season, but blowing some games this year where people are expecting them to win is a more likely scenario. So this is one of them right here that I really like the Rams. I think that the revenge factor here is going to be the storyline. Stafford goes back and gets revenge. All right. New York Jets are at the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers opened as a 5.5 point favorite, but now it's only a 4.5 point spread. And Aaron Rodgers is back for the Jets. So you got to figure there's going to be a lot of buzz and a lot of eyeballs on this game. We're going to have all of America watching this game. And so with Aaron Rodgers going down in the first game last year right away, there's going to be some people skeptical about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. But I also feel like there's going to be a lot of people who are willing to throw money at that plus 4.5 just because Aaron Rodgers is on the field. I'm thinking that this is a game that we're going to see a lot of live action. So I'm thinking that people are going to be a bit hesitant to throw money at Aaron Rodgers until they've seen him play a few series. So I could see some Jets fans or some live betting, some live sports bettors wanting to jump in on the Jets once they've seen Aaron Rodgers play a little bit here. So if they were to have, let's say, Aaron Rodgers start out and score and look good, and the Jets take the lead early, I could see the live market jumping all over the Jets. So I'm thinking Jets jump out to an early lead, and the 49ers have to play catch up, and you have Aaron Rodgers looking like a stud, looking like Aaron Rodgers. And so you could have the Jets up at halftime, like 17-10, 14-10 or something. And Aaron Rodgers, with two TD passes looking good. And I think you could get a huge number of live bets on the Jets just simply with Aaron Rodgers playing good in the first half. And so I think in the second half, San Francisco comes back, gains control of the game. And I like San Francisco in the second half here to take like a touchdown lead. And then, like, final drive, Aaron Rodgers has got the ball down by like 6 or 7. And then he comes up like empty on the last drive. So give me San Francisco to win and cover in this Monday night game. But I think Aaron Rodgers shows up and looks good and gets a lot of people to feel comfortable betting on the Jets. And then this will carry over to like the next week and the weeks after. People will be a lot more comfortable betting on the Jets once they see Aaron Rodgers get through a whole game without being injured. So there you go. There you have my week 1 picks. Now, bet at your own risk. I am making guesses based on who I think is scripted to win. I have no advanced knowledge. I don't work for the books. I don't write the scripts for the NFL. All I can do is guess. I'm just a dude doing my best to guess. And so if my guesses are wrong and I have a bad week, I'm sorry. I really am. And if my guesses are good and I have a really good week, well, I reserve the right at any time to start charging for this information. So good luck. So good luck out there, and bet responsibly. And I will see you guys in the next video. And make sure to check out the top 10 most rigged plays of week 1. That video will drop on Tuesday. I'll see you guys there. All right. Peace.